There's an agitation that pushes people out of your life. Because what I'm about to explain is something that most people feel, but very few understand. You've heard of emotional distance. You've possibly heard of falling outs and growing apart. But that is not what happens to spiritually sensitive individuals when they evolve. No, what happens to you is much stranger, much quieter, and much more deliberate. There will come a moment when someone's spirit reacts before their mind catches up. You didn't say anything. You didn't behave differently. You didn't confront them. You didn't cause conflict. But something in them twitches, a discomfort, a tightening, a sudden irritation around you. They don't understand it. They can't explain it. All they know is something about you doesn't feel the same. They can't name it, but they feel it, that feeling. That's the early warning sign that your destiny is about to activate and their connection to you is about to expire. So, this agitation is the spiritual equivalent to a visa expiring in your life. Right now, we're going through all over the globe, different countries are limiting the visiting and the visas for immigrants. And so they're being asked to leave without knowing why. And there will be individuals that are in your life that'll be asked to leave through their irritation, but they won't know why. Your evolution will pull buried emotions to the surface. Your peace exposes their restlessness, and your discipline exposes their avoidance. Insight exposes their blindness. Your inner steadiness, that will expose their inner drama. And your honesty will expose everything that they are denying. You become uncomfortable truth in human form, not because you're judging them, and not because you're trying to teach them, and definitely not because you're confronting them. But your very existence becomes a spotlight in their subconscious. They don't feel safe near people who can see what they refuse to face in themselves. So they'll drift. They don't want to hear it anymore, right? You ever meet individuals that they enter your world, they want your advice or they want a favor, but they don't want you to attach instructions to it. They don't want to hear it. So distance becomes their way of protecting their unhealed places from your clarity. It's not rejection, it's self preservation, but not yours, it's theirs. Because once the agitation starts, they can't turn it off. So they become restless around you, irritable for no reason, easily offended, strangely cold, suspicious without evidence, drained by your presence, imitated by your calm, and bothered by your growth. They feel like something is off, but they think it's you, not them. Meanwhile, your spirit is rising inch by inch. And of course, your intuition is sharpening, your discernment is becoming bolder, and your purpose is gaining momentum. And they're feeling every bit of that shift. And even if you haven't told a soul, your spirit speaks before mouths do. And we've discussed that in many, many videos. But agitation is the language. If you ask them what happened, they won't have an answer. They'll say, I don't know. I've been busy. I just needed space. I've been overwhelmed. I'm figuring things out. They are not lies. They are partial truths, but they're wrapped around one central reality. Your evolution has triggered something in them they do not have language for. It's a reaction without clarity. It's a discomfort without explanation or without closure. It's like you have a friend and all of a sudden you don't hear from them anymore. They don't hear from you. And you may catch up to them or see them in passing or online and you wonder, whatever happened to us? They were pulled away because the spirit reacts faster than the mind can articulate. That's why there was a without closure. They're not running from you. They're running from what you activated in them. Now, this is the darkest layer. Sometimes people drift because your presence reminds them of the choices they didn't make, the courage they never used, or the responsibility they avoided, or the discipline they refused, or the potential they wasted. And you embody a version of themselves they never became. And that truth is too painful for them to sit next to. It's not jealousy. This time it's grief. They are grieving the person they could have been. And you highlight the distance between who they are and who they were meant to be. That's why they stop reaching out. Your evolution reduces them to their regrets. Elevation triggers separation. This is not optional for you. It's not personal to you. And it is not emotional drama. It's not ego or conflict. This is spiritual law. Your life is totally different from the average. Because and before your identity rises, heaven issues a quiet command. Clear the room. Clear their environment. Clear their pain. Clear their family. Clear their children. Clear their spouse. And suddenly, people begin to fade. Connections thin. Relationships dissolve. Communication breaks. Closeness turns into distance. Conversation becomes shallow. Ties begin to loosen. And access will shrink. Because who you're becoming cannot be revealed in the presence of people who don't respect it, don't understand it, or can't even handle it. Identity requires a purified audience. Your becoming demands new eyes. You want to know who removes them? Not you, not them, but the one who knows. The one who knows where you're going, what you carry, what threatens you, who drains you, who confuses you, who distracts you, who delays you, who diminishes you, and who you've outgrown. Your elevation has a guardian. Your identity has a gatekeeper. And that guardian will protect your emerging self with surgical precision, sometimes by closing emotional doors, drying up conversations, disrupting chemistry, creating misunderstandings, redirecting your focus, exposing hidden motives, intensifying your intuition, making their presence unbearable, and making your presence unbearable to them. These dissolutions are not random, they are strategic removals. You are not losing people. You're shredding what can survive your next level. The last stage is the one that hurts the most, but liberates the deepest. There comes a moment when you try to return, but your spirit won't. You try to connect, but your energy rejects it. You try to give them another chance, but your peace shuts the door. You try to feel what you used to feel, but the emotional frequency is gone. This is when you know the removal was final. Your spirit has crossed a threshold their presence cannot reach. Your identity has stepped into a room they cannot enter. They never left you. Your purpose pushed them out. People don't leave your life because something went wrong. People leave because you became who they were never meant to witness. Your future has called you forward. Your identity rose. Your spirit has evolved. Your purpose is still expanding. And anything or anyone that cannot align with the strength of your becoming naturally falls away. Not by drama, not by conflict, and not by betrayal, by spiritual incompatibility. You didn't lose them. Your destiny outgrew them, and they drifted because your presence spoke a truth they could no longer ignore. Your evolution is always detectable long before it is noticeable, and we've discussed that. Long before you speak differently, act differently, dress differently, or choose differently, your presence changes. Something in your inner posture shifts. Something in your tone stabilizes. Something in your discernment sharpens because something in your emotional rhythm matures. People feel this before you become aware of it. So when you walk in a room and conversation drops half a beat, you speak and people suddenly pause before responding. How about when your silence gains weight you didn't assign to it? Others sense a rising strength in you, a deepening awareness, and internal clarity, and their spirit reacts. They feel the change before they can articulate it. So stop asking, Why are they attacking me when I've done nothing wrong? Your presence speaks a language their insecurity cannot interpret. And this is the moment that the drift begins. They tense up when you enter. They avoid eye contact. They cut conversation short. They become oddly defensive. And they take harmless comments personally. It is not what you said. It is what your presence triggers. See, your insight strips away their excuses, and your maturity exposes what they avoid. Your calm highlights their drama, and your purpose reveals they're still standing still. They cannot handle the reflection of themselves. They see in your elevation. So agitation rises like static electricity in the air. The agitation is not proof you've done something wrong. It's proof your spirit has outgrown the dynamic that once held you. Before the drift completes, something even stranger happens. They lose access to the old version of you. They can't predict your reactions. They can't manipulate your emotions anymore. So they can't anticipate your moves. And that means they can't influence your decisions. They can't get you to bend the way they used to because your essence starts operating on a frequency they cannot decode. They can no longer see you, not the rising part. And when someone can't interpret your rise, they can't explain it. They don't know how you got from here to there. They misinterpret your existence. So they pull back, not because you've changed now for the worse, but because you no longer fit inside the emotional container they built for you. Separations don't start with conflict. They start with spiritual pressure. So to protect your next chapter, heaven applies invisible pressure to the connections that cannot travel with you. This pressure shows up as conversations that suddenly feel strained, patterns that stop working. You can't do what you used to do. It doesn't feel the same. They can't approach you in the way that they had before because your energy no longer blends. Your laughter no longer just flows, and the closeness that you once had now dissolves because emotional heaviness, they can feel it when you interact. Matter of fact, you both feel it. It becomes impossible to ignore, impossible to fix, and impossible to force. So some people say, hey, we just outgrown one another. We like different things. Because the pressure is a divine signal saying this tie served its purpose. Now release it. They must clear your environment because if heaven doesn't push them out, guess what? They'll sabotage the identity you're moving into. You'll keep them attached and they'll tell everyone you newly meet and everyone you'll try to connect with, they'll tell them what you used to do, what you used to be. And they don't understand every weakness, every quirk that you ever had. So some relationships do not end, they evaporate. No argument, no betrayal, no dramatic exit. Just a quiet, irreversible thinning of the connection. And this happens when your energy stops feeding their emptiness and your compassion stops enabling their habits because your emotional capacity no longer absorbs their instability. Your intuition rejects their inconsistency and your purpose no longer aligns with their lifestyle. Because when you evolve, the emotional hooks that once used to hold you lose their grip. You are no longer interested. And this is why draining relationships collapse without warning, because there is nothing left in you for them to consume. And right before the room is cleared, truth will rise. And this is the stage where accidental comments slip, private motives will surface, inconsistencies become obvious, secret frustrations spill out, hidden tension reveals itself. This exposure isn't meant to hurt you, it is meant to free you. You must see clearly so you don't chase what heaven is removing. Exposure is the divine closing argument. Every truth revealed is a doorway out. Take it. This is why people show their real posture right before a separation. The timing is not coincidence, it is spiritual coordination. So when the agitation becomes too heavy, the exposure becomes undeniable, and the pressure becomes unbearable, they vanish. No closure, no explanation, no emotional handshake, and no final conversation. Why, you may ask? Because if you fully saw their insecurity, your compassion would try to hold on to them. Your heart would try to fix it. Your loyalty would try to repair it. Your empathy would try to understand it. So heaven removes the conversation altogether. So you don't stay in a dynamic that no longer sustains your becoming. They flee because staying would require honesty they do not have, growth they are not ready for, and accountability they cannot handle. I did not understand becoming because Michelle Obama wrote a book and the title is In Her Becoming. She's becoming, right? So I'm like, that makes no sense. It's not even a catchy phrase, but I didn't understand what it was until I began to study becoming. And so here's the part that most people never understand. You are not the one who clears the room because you cannot. You're too compassionate, too loyal, too forgiving, too intuitive, and too relational. So heaven does it. How, you might ask? Through shifts in your energy, changes in your boundaries, sudden clarity, internal restlessness, exposure, closed opportunities, redirected paths, emotional dryness in old connections, and distancing you can't explain because the conversations now feel empty. And this is spiritual engineering. Heaven rearranges circumstances, conversations, emotions, and internal wiring till leaving becomes the only path for them and rising becomes the only path for you. After the agitation, after the drifting, after the exposure, after the quiet exits, and after the divine separation, something miraculous happens. Your identity finally arrives. You say you're lonely. And then your real voice surfaces. Your insight becomes louder. Your decisions become sharper. Your confidence becomes natural. Your connections become more spiritual. Your intuition becomes undeniable. Your purpose becomes visible. Your relationships become healthier. Your spirit becomes steadier and your path becomes clearer. And that's not what God wants them to experience with you. And you say, why now? Because the eyes that would have distorted your becoming are no longer present. So you and your identity is not born in a crowd, it is born in a cleared room. That's why we build when we know how to get grounded. We can stand being alone in a purified environment, a quiet atmosphere, a season where only aligned eyes remain. You were hidden until your audience changed because some eyes were never meant to witness your becoming. Your identity needs safety. Your purpose needs room. Your elevation needs privacy. And your calling needs silence. And destiny needs the right witnesses. You're stepping into that stage now. I created memberships. The $2.99 to get you into lives and allow you to chat. But the highest one, it has private chat rooms that is going to be built. The one that says social media, that's the Discord that I'm going to be beginning, and you all can participate. But the private chat rooms are for those that really want to get it. And I'm not selling it to you. You could pay $2.99 and you can still be part of everything, just about. Well, anything good, right? But I want to thank you for visiting my channel. I don't need to witness to you or sell you anything. You're stepping into that stage now. Your destiny needs the right witnesses. Thank you for visiting my channel. I am so very appreciative because you are blessing me as much as I am blessing you. Stay conscious, stay covered, and remain undefeated. I will see you on the next one. Love you guys. Bye bye.